I never thought my own food choices were making my knees ache and my legs feel weaker. But one morning, I struggled just to get out of bed. Every step felt stiff, every movement slower. I told myself, this is just aging. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then I discovered a shocking truth. Certain everyday foods were fueling my joint pain, and I was eating them constantly without realizing it. And here's the worst part. These foods might already be in your kitchen, but don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid and what to eat instead to keep your joints strong and pain-free. And if you want more tips on aging well and staying active, consider subscribing. I share simple, science-backed advice to help you move better, feel stronger, and enjoy life to the fullest. Because aging doesn't mean slowing down. Maybe you've felt it too, waking up with stiff knees, feeling your hips ache after sitting too long, or that dull pain creeping into your legs after just a short walk. At first, you brush it off. Maybe I overdid it yesterday, you tell yourself. But then it keeps happening day after day, and when you finally mention it to a doctor, you hear the same old phrase, it's just part of aging. But here's the truth, they're only half right. Yes, our bodies change as we age, but pain and stiffness aren't inevitable. What you eat plays a massive role in how your joints feel. Some foods fuel inflammation, breaking down the cartilage that cushions your joints. Others help protect and strengthen them, keeping you mobile and pain-free for years. And if you're eating the wrong things, you could be speeding up joint damage without even realizing it. But don't worry, I'm about to break it all down for you. Let's start with the first food that could be making your joints worse. But here's what doctors don't always tell you. It's not just age that's causing your stiffness, swelling, and aches. The real culprit, inflammation. Inflammation is your body's natural defense. But when it runs wild, it starts attacking your own tissues, including the cartilage that protects your joints. And guess what fuels this process? Certain foods. The same foods you may be eating every single day without realizing the damage they're causing. They trigger inflammation, break down your joints faster, and leave you feeling stiff, sore, and weaker over time. But here's the good news. Once you know what's hurting your joints, you can take control. You don't have to suffer through unnecessary pain, and you don't have to give up on staying active. So let's go over the 5 worst foods for your joints, starting with one that almost every senior eats daily. You might be shocked by what's on this list. Number 1, processed meats. Bacon, sausages, deli meat, a hidden joint killer. We all love the rich, savory taste of bacon sizzling in the pan, a quick deli sandwich for lunch, or a hearty plate of sausages. These foods have been staples for years, and they're convenient, easy to prepare, and packed with flavor. But what if I told you they could be silently wreaking havoc on your joints? Processed meats, like bacon, sausages, ham, and deli meats, contain high levels of preservatives, nitrates, and inflammatory compounds that can speed up joint damage. These chemicals don't just help the meat last longer, they fuel chronic inflammation in the body, which is the #1 enemy of healthy joints. Inflammation breaks down the cartilage that cushions your joints, making them more prone to pain, stiffness, and even long-term damage. And here's where it gets even more concerning. Science backs this up. Studies have found that people who regularly eat processed meats have higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a marker of inflammation linked to arthritis and joint pain. The nitrates and advanced glycation end products, AGEs, in these meats also increase oxidative stress in the body, accelerating the wear and tear on your joints. I used to eat processed meats regularly without a second thought. A few slices of bacon in the morning, a quick deli sandwich for lunch. It was just normal. But then I started noticing my knees ached more, especially after meals heavy in processed foods. That's when I dug into the research, made a change, and within weeks I felt the difference. The stiffness eased, the aches weren't as bad, and I could move more freely. You don't have to give up meat entirely, but choosing the right kind of protein can make a huge difference in your joint health. Instead of processed meats, try these options. Lean meats like chicken, turkey, or fish. These provide protein without triggering inflammation. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines, packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which actually help reduce joint pain. Plant-based options like lentils, beans, or tofu, great sources of protein that naturally fight inflammation. Simple swaps can have a huge impact. Instead of processed bacon, try turkey bacon or eggs with anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric. Swap deli meats for grilled chicken or tuna with avocado. These small changes can help protect your joints and keep you moving pain-free. And processed meats are just the beginning. There's another common food, one most people drink daily, that silently wrecks your joints. Let's talk about it next. Number 2, sugary drinks and sodas, the sweet trap that's wrecking your joints. We all love a refreshing, ice-cold soda on a hot day or a sweetened coffee to give us a boost. Maybe it's a fruit punch with lunch or a flavored tea from the store. These drinks are everywhere and they taste great. But here's what most people don't realize. They could be silently making your joint pain worse. Sugary drinks, including sodas, energy drinks, and sweetened juices, are loaded with added sugars that spike inflammation in the body. And inflammation, that's the real enemy of your joints. When sugar floods your system, it triggers the release of cytokines, inflammatory molecules that attack your joints, leading to stiffness, swelling, and pain. And it's not just a minor issue. Science backs this up. A major study found that people who drink soda daily have a higher risk of knee pain and osteoarthritis. Another study published in the journal BMJ found that excess sugar intake is directly linked to higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of inflammation in the body. Over time, all that extra sugar can wear down your cartilage, making your joints weaker and more prone to damage. I remember when I used to drink soda without thinking twice. It was just part of my daily routine. But then I started noticing something. My knees felt worse after certain meals. At first, I didn't make the connection. But when I cut back on sugary drinks and switched to healthier options, the difference was huge. The swelling in my fingers went down, my knees felt more stable, and I didn't wake up as stiff in the mornings. The good news is, you don't have to give up delicious drinks. You just need to swap them for better options that actually help your joints instead of hurting them. Herbal teas, Green tea and ginger tea are packed with anti-inflammatory properties that help soothe aching joints. Lemon water, hydrating and refreshing with vitamin C to support collagen in your joints. Anti-inflammatory smoothies blend berries, spinach, flax seeds and turmeric for a powerful joint-friendly drink. Making this one change, swapping sugary drinks for anti-inflammatory options, can reduce joint pain, improve mobility, and keep you feeling strong. Have you noticed a difference in your joints after cutting out sugary drinks? Or do you have a favorite anti-inflammatory drink? Let me know in the comments. And here's the thing, sugary drinks aren't the only common food damaging your joints. The next one is something most people think is healthy, but it's actually making inflammation worse. Let's talk about it next. Number 3, refined carbs, white bread, pasta, pastries, the hidden culprit behind joint stiffness. There's nothing quite like the comfort of a warm slice of bread, a plate of pasta, or a fresh-baked pastry. For years, these foods have been staples in many of our diets. But what if I told you they could be silently fueling your joint pain and making it harder to move? Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, pasta, pastries, and even many breakfast cereals, break down into sugar almost instantly in your body. And just like sugary drinks, this sudden spike in sugar triggers inflammation, which is one of the leading causes of joint pain and stiffness. Here's what happens. When you eat refined carbs, your body quickly converts them into glucose, which floods your bloodstream. This spike in blood sugar leads to an increase in C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of inflammation. Over time, this wears down your joints, weakens cartilage, and makes movement more painful. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets high in refined carbs increase inflammatory markers, leading to higher rates of joint pain and stiffness. Meanwhile, people who replace white bread and pasta with whole grains often report better mobility, less stiffness, and reduced swelling. I used to think a bagel for breakfast or a bowl of pasta for dinner was completely harmless. But as the stiffness in my knees got worse, I started looking into what might be causing it. When I swapped out refined carbs for whole grains, the results shocked me. My energy improved, my joints didn't feel as swollen, and I could move more freely. You don't have to give up bread or pasta entirely, but making smarter swaps can help protect your joints and keep inflammation low. Whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, and whole wheat bread are full of fiber and help regulate blood sugar. Sweet potatoes, a great alternative to white potatoes and pasta, packed with antioxidants that support joint health. Legumes, lentils and beans provide slow-burning carbs that fuel your body without spiking inflammation. By making this simple switch, you can reduce joint stiffness, improve mobility, and feel better overall. Have you ever noticed joint pain after eating certain carbs? What's your favorite healthy swap for white bread or pasta? Share it in the comments. And here's the thing, refined carbs aren't the only so-called harmless food making your joints worse. The next one is something many people eat daily, thinking it's a healthy choice, but it's actually silently fueling inflammation. Let's talk about it next. Number 4, fried foods, French fries, fried chicken, chips, the crispy crunch that's destroying your joints. There's something irresistible about the crunch of golden French fries, crispy fried chicken, or a bag of salty chips. For years, these foods have been go-to comfort meals, making their way onto our plates at family gatherings, restaurants, and quick snacks. But what if I told you they're silently damaging your joints? Fried foods are packed with unhealthy oils, trans fats, and inflammatory compounds that wreak havoc on your body, especially your joints. These foods trigger oxidative stress, which breaks down cartilage faster and makes joint pain worse over time. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that trans fats and heavily processed oils increase inflammation and worsen arthritis symptoms. These unhealthy fats increase C-reactive protein, CRP levels, a key marker of inflammation that directly affects joint pain and stiffness. But here's where it gets even worse. Fried foods contain advanced glycation end products, AGEs, harmful compounds that speed up joint deterioration. The more fried foods you eat, the faster your cartilage wears down, making movement more painful and increasing your risk of arthritis. I used to eat fried foods all the time. Crispy fries with my meals, fried chicken on the weekends, and chips as a quick snack. It was just part of my routine. But as my knees became stiffer and my joints ached more, I started looking into what might be making things worse. When I cut back on fried foods and switched to healthier cooking methods, the difference was unbelievable. Less stiffness, better mobility, and even more energy. You don't have to give up crispy, delicious foods entirely. Just choose smarter ways to prepare them. Baked or air-fried options, you still get the crunch, but without the harmful oils and trans fats. Healthy oils, olive oil and avocado oil, are packed with anti-inflammatory properties that protect your joints. Homemade snacks. Instead of store-bought chips, try roasted chickpeas or kale chips for a healthier crunch. A simple swap can mean the difference between aching joints and feeling strong and mobile. Your body and your future self will thank you. Have you ever noticed feeling sluggish or achy after eating fried foods? What's your favorite healthy alternative? Share it in the comments. And fried foods aren't the only culprit. There's one more food, something many people consider healthy, that's actually one of the biggest joint-damaging culprits of all. Let's talk about it next. Number 5, excessive dairy, cheese, whole milk ice cream. Is it hurting your joints? For many of us, dairy has been a part of our lives since childhood. A glass of milk with breakfast, a slice of cheese in a sandwich, or a bowl of ice cream as a treat. It's comforting, familiar, and often considered essential for strong bones. But here's the surprising truth. For some people, excessive dairy can actually make joint pain worse. Certain dairy products, especially whole milk, cheese, and ice cream, contain proteins and saturated fats that can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. For some people, these foods can lead to higher levels of inflammatory markers, making joint pain, stiffness, and swelling worse over time. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that some individuals who are sensitive to dairy experience increased inflammation, which can aggravate arthritis symptoms. The main culprit? Casein, a protein found in dairy that, for some people, can cause an inflammatory response in the body. And here's another issue. Many dairy products are high in saturated fat, which has been linked to higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of inflammation in the body. While not everyone is affected the same way, People who are lactose intolerant or dairy sensitive may find that reducing dairy leads to less joint pain and better mobility. I used to drink whole milk every day and couldn't imagine giving up my favorite cheese. But when I started experiencing stiffness in my fingers and swelling in my knees, I decided to experiment. I cut back on dairy for a few weeks, replacing it with plant-based alternatives, and the difference shocked me. Less morning stiffness, fewer flare-ups, and an overall feeling of lightness in my joints. What's the better choice? You don't have to eliminate dairy entirely, but being mindful of your intake and choosing alternatives can make a big difference. Almond milk or oat milk. These dairy-free alternatives are easy on the joints and packed with vitamins. Coconut yogurt, a creamy, delicious substitute that supports gut health without inflammation. Moderate dairy intake. If you're not sensitive to dairy, opt for low-fat options like Greek yogurt, which contains probiotics that may help reduce inflammation. Listening to your body is key. If you've been struggling with joint pain, consider experimenting with a low-dairy diet for a few weeks to see how you feel. The results might surprise you. Have you ever noticed a difference in your joints after eating dairy? What's your favorite non-dairy alternative? Share it in the comments. So here's the choice. You can keep eating the foods that fuel pain, or you can start making small changes today that will help you stay active, mobile, and pain-free for years to come. The best part? You don't have to change everything overnight. Even one small swap, switching out soda for herbal tea, choosing whole grains instead of white bread, or air frying instead of deep frying, can make a huge difference in how your joints feel. The foods you eat either build you up or break you down. And now that you know the worst offenders, you have the power to choose better for your body. Your future self will thank you for it. Which of these foods were you most surprised to see on the list? Have you ever made a food swap that helped your joints feel better? Let me know in the comments. And remember, just as some foods damage your joints, others can help rebuild and protect them. In my next video, I'll reveal the top 3 foods that fight inflammation and strengthen your joints. Don't miss it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know.